like when a lot of us first saw the new bistro kit, we were like, okay, that's cool, but what's the point if you don't have get together or dine out to make functional bistros? Because it seems like this pack would tie in really nicely with restaurants or cafe lot types. If you want to see it used with other packs to make a functional restaurant, I did a video like that a couple of days ago. I built a huge community lot, so I'll link that down below for you. But today we're gonna try and use just the base game, and we're gonna make something kind of cool to replace this blue velvet lounge in Willow Creek. I must say, I don't really think about the blue velvet very often. It's not a place that I come to that much anymore. But this is actually kind of a cool little strip of community lots in downtown Willow Creek, so I think that we can make something cool to replace it. By default, it's a nightclub, but I think I want ours to be a lounge. So to do that, we have a few requirements. Basically, it needs like dining tables and chairs, love seats, a bar, and it kind of needs to have almost like a stage or a performance space because it wants to have a microphone and a musical instrument. So we're gonna try and do something like that. I am gonna make it short wall height. I'm trying to decide what color windows I want to use. I feel like it might be kind of interesting to use the reddish ones. It's not really red, it's more of like a reddish wood tone, but I think it's kind of cool. I'm curious about opening up the doors next to it, or if that would be weird. Maybe I should put open doors on the side somehow instead. I feel like in general, this building should probably be like kind of close to the wall on this side just because it's so much tighter. And then over here makes for a better outdoor patio space just because this side's a little bit more open with the big open walkway. There is gonna have to be an upstairs, although I don't really know what I'm doing. I might want to make it a little bit smaller. There's just something about it that seems kind of weird to me, but then again, is that too small? I think it is too small. You're gonna have to just bear with me. I've got an overthinking problem. I've always had one. This is no different. We can do some red little flower boxes up there. I think that's a huge help. Oh, and I almost forgot to put a sign. I guess that part's kind of important too, huh? Let me rethink that. So we have the pretty reddish sign. We have these beautiful awnings that go across the top. I honestly think that those can stay in the red and white stripes. I guess I could make them like darker, but we can do something quite small with the trim on the top, and then maybe I can just extend this all the way up. Oh no, why does that clip through the corner? What makes you think that I want it to do that? Just ignore it. It's fine. It's fine. I must say I actually did kind of love these windows, but I think if we're gonna do this, we have to really be careful to have them not be clipping too much with the sign. I think that can be done. I just don't know if that looks okay. I guess it depends how the roof turns out. It's hard to say right now because we haven't fixed the roof yet. Okay, hold on. This actually has potential. I'm gonna spend all this time on the outside and the inside's probably gonna be really simple. I'm just warning you. I gotta think about the roof for a second because I have kind of been neglecting that part, and I suppose that is important. So hold on for a second. Let's not get our hopes up too high. I was kind of trying to make it look like this, but when you put it like this, it's kind of a mess. We don't even have any fake dormers to use. When I did this with packs, I used fake dormers in the front, but we can't even do that. I guess I could put real dormers, or like one real dormer. Oh no. Maybe what it needs is to be 3 stories high, because I think that would probably help with the height difference, because this was a lot taller than it, because these are like tall wall height. So it being tall like this makes it feel more imposing. I can acknowledge that right now this is very similar to what I built the other day. The problem is it's a bistro kit. Like, it's sort of designed for a very specific style. All right, I'm trying to get myself some more windows because I'm really feeling like the entire downstairs needs to be basically completely wrapped in windows. I'm not really sure about this part, but I'm gonna try it anyway just to see. It becomes very, let's just say it becomes a lot, all right? It becomes very much a lot when you have it like this. I think this part right here is gonna be the bathroom, which thankfully actually kind of works. I don't really know what color. And then there can just be 2 small stalls on the inside. Also, I don't really think it's a bad thing if the upstairs is mostly empty. Like, the upstairs is kind of meant to be there as like a shell. I don't really need the upstairs for function. It's mostly just there so it looks cool. Maybe that's bad. I don't know. But that's kind of what I'm thinking as I'm doing this. Kind of trying to prepare right now where the landscaping is gonna go. This is turning into a lot of little fencing. So I don't know if what I'm doing is bad or not. I'm thinking that in this front part, it's gonna be mostly flowers. My initial thought process was that there would probably be bushes there on that side. And then I thought I might size down some little bushes here to fill in this section. Landscaping is always like the most fun part for me when I do stuff like this. I really, really enjoy doing landscaping. I'm sorry if you find this boring. I'm like genuinely thriving right now with this because I like doing the landscaping so much. Okay, something kind of like that was my initial thought process. And maybe it's better if this doesn't wrap around, who knows? There's gonna be like outdoor seating and stuff out there. So I'm gonna break out some debug landscaping now because I want to get trees and things. We do have these items if we wanted to try and use those at all. I'm not really sure. And we have these. And I think this might help. These are like newspaper boxes and stuff. I think that might be kind of nice to put down the side somewhere. We can also put a fire hydrant somewhere. I don't know, just stuff to make it look like it's really a community lot. These are the little lampposts that match the front of this lot. They kind of line down this way. I don't really know if I should keep it. I'm just throwing out ideas. Mostly what I was in debug for were these items. I wanted some tree cages because I was gonna put them down all the sides. I'm just gonna save a couple of extra of those just in case I want them later on. And then we can put these little trees in there. And doesn't that make a huge difference on the outside? I feel like all of a sudden it looks so much better. Forgive me, I'm just trying something really different on the roof line real quick because I just feel like there's something about this that's kind of looking weird to me. That could very well look worse, but I think that the building being a little bit wider is an improvement. If I'm being completely honest with you, I don't actually know what people are meant to do with these items. If I'm being completely honest with you, I don't actually know what you're meant to do with these and like how these are supposed to be laid out. I'm kind of just winging it right now as I'm placing them. I have this really beautiful fence with some pretty metal work that I think we can try and put over there. I wonder if the bistro sign fits. Oh, it kind of works right there too. We can put it on the side. I think it being on the corner isn't bad. Should we do like, oh no. No. I was gonna say, should we have like a sort of reddish toned wood in there? I don't think so. I mean, I guess I don't ever use that, but perhaps there's a good reason for me never using it. I would actually love to use this. This is from the other new kit, but I'm trying to use just the base game and the bistro kit. We do have this kind of horrible orange color. Not really down for that. I'm actually feeling like something simple and kind of light colored like this would look good on the top half. And maybe, because we have this section down here, the first floor can be painted with the darker brick. You really only see it in this like one little part, but I don't think that's bad. I'm actually quite tempted to delete this whole section because I kind of want to have this part be the back of the bar. I think now is where we start moving on to the inside so we can start thinking about all this. I feel like we're just gonna have to learn to be okay with it being really busy and really dark on the inside. Most of the flooring, honestly, is probably gonna end up being from the bistro kit. We have this. Oh my gosh, that's kind of cool. Okay, I think that's actually kind of the vibe. Then I was thinking that over here would be like the slight stage section. Although that's probably not the best place for it, is it? Maybe it should be small, but like angled? I don't know. I guess there could be a staircase right here. I'm not really sure where the doorway will go for the bathroom. I might try and get some more furniture in first. So we know that we're gonna have all of the musical instruments and stuff on this little setup. So I can get the piano, oh, okay. I can get the piano kind of angled nicely up there. We can have the microphone. I'll put a guitar in the back and that becomes the stage. Thankfully, we do have a couple of different colors that we can use on the walls. This one has like the wood paneling that we're dreaming of. So I might try and focus on that. But then we can do kind of a cool reddish one in the bathroom just as something different. I think we could really benefit from a jukebox somewhere. I feel like that fits the vibes. I'm probably gonna put a couple of trash cans in the bathrooms. Don't worry, I will rearrange this. But we're also probably gonna want some trash cans outside, even like in the front where they're easily accessible. I am kind of worried about love seats because I'm not super obsessed with any of the colors of these. Even in the red, I feel like it's kind of giving me the ick a little bit. The game does class these outdoor benches as being love seats, but then again, it still doesn't really match, so not really obsessed with that. We can use these really nice checkered tables, so I'll probably get a few of these outside. And I think I shall use the matching red. At least I think I'll use that red because that's what we put inside. I think I'll keep that. I think maybe a more solid color will look better on the inside. I'm just thinking here. It's not that the checkered ones look bad. It's just that I'm kind of feeling as though we probably want to have a slightly less busy situation happening in here. Maybe the jukebox could go over there, and then perhaps we could have a love seat or two in the entryway. I would love, by the way, if we were able to, like, to me, this is more so the dream. I would love to have some booth seating, but the game doesn't class that as being a love seat. I think we could probably put those just down the side though, even if I don't put tables at them. Literally just because it looks kind of cool, I feel like it works. Yeah, see, in the red, yeah, it's just like so bright almost in the red color. It's just not the vibes. I mean, here's the thing. We already decided that we don't have to have this whole place be open. Okay, I was just thinking that it might be cool to have some sort of open space up here. It doesn't really look as good as I had initially envisioned that it would. That was mostly just coming from a desire to have some sort of doorway over here. I actually think it would be really cool if we had some sort of outdoor seating upstairs like this. Do you really need that in The Sims 4? No. No, you don't. Is it cool? Yes. I think I will put some sort of different texture on the stage. I feel like that makes a huge difference just by itself. I'm looking at everything from the bistro kit right now. I don't know why this menu is going over here in this corner, but I guess it is. We can totally have these menus in these corners too. We have a few kind of nice things, like this mirror might be sort of nice to have. Honestly, even if there was like another one of these big storage pieces, I don't think that would be bad. I think it's kind of fun to get more furniture. We can do kind of a cool setup over here with a few different art pieces. I like how they come in different colors. We can do lots of lights, wall lights, kind of along the walls over here. Oh, I'm actually kind of obsessed with that. I think once we get the lighting a little bit darker, oh, I'm kind of obsessed with that. And then once it's a little bit darker, like we maybe have less ceiling lights, it's gonna be so good. I think we have to have these little hanging wine bottle rack things. I'll put that above the bar. They do have these little table lamps. I might want to bring a sim here just so I can test this out, but I'm really curious about getting rid of basically all the ceiling lights because we're trying to go for this sort of moody lounge. I'm realizing now that the table lights are barely lighting up anything. It's really dark in here, so that's not good. I can put some ceiling lights back here by the bar. I don't think that's bad. I'm probably gonna want to get some clutter in the bar. I just don't really know what that's going to entail. I still don't have enough love seats, so that's a whole other problem. If I wanted to make it into a nightclub, what's different? It's the same required items for a nightclub. It just doesn't have love seats. Okay. Well, I do quite like the idea of it being easily swapped out by you as you're playing on this lot. Luckily, there's a lot of different art prints in this, so we can kind of use those to fill in some of these walls. I'm quite scared about overdoing it in the bathroom. I don't know how much else to add in here. I feel like it should be very simple. It actually might not hurt if I put a sink inside each of these bathrooms. Obviously, there is a sink on the outside, and that's nice if you're just coming here and like wanting to wash your hands, but it's not a bad thing to have private sinks as well, especially if it helps to take up space in our weird little tiny bathrooms. I gotta make sure I don't forget toilet paper too. Okay, well, this is what we're working with so far downstairs. We have this little menu item as well. This is from the pack. It's just decorative. I think in an ideal world, I'd probably rather have candles or something on this outside table, but we just don't really have that in the base game. So I guess I'll use these just because then we have more of an excuse to use items from the pack. In my mind, this entire room is made for nothing. We're just gonna use this upstairs space and that's it. I was thinking about using the Cozy Bistro Kit curtains, but I think they're too small. I actually think that unfortunately some plain base game ones might be better. Oh, I do not like those. Oh my god. The colors of the woods up here. What have I gotten myself into with this? Oh, I'm dreading it. Well, you know what? Here's one small thing. There could be an extra bathroom upstairs, and it can be a small extra bathroom. It doesn't need to be fancy. We're literally just trying to use up space. There are actually some really fun different variants on these posters. I'm really enjoying going through and picking them. I like how it looks like they're vintage ads or something. I just think that's so cool. Maybe these curtains should be bigger. And maybe all the walls upstairs should be red. That's not bad. It does kind of like fancy the place up a little bit. What if I had brown curtains instead of red curtains? It does kind of have the fancy energy that I'm looking for with this building. And then that's like one more color of red that I don't have to match. We want to get love seats up here. Options are kind of slim. I don't really like any of them. I feel like to me, this one is probably our best bet. I've got 3 different pieces of art over there now, which is also quite cool. And maybe we could do like a little plant on the table because one of these in a nice red color might be good. So my worry with the upstairs is that I would rather the Sims mostly hang out down here. So I'm kind of trying to not put too much extra stuff up here. I don't want to like put a second bar because then it kind of glitches with the sims that it spawns for the bar. So I'm going back and forth a lot about what's best to have. I don't think that a bookshelf in a lounge really makes that much sense, but I'm gonna try it. I might leave a door to this empty room too, just in case. Who knows? You might need it someday. If you've got Get Together, you might want to put a closet in there so they could woohoo or something. Who knows? I'm just trying to give you options, that's all. I put a whole bunch more tables up here. Simple tables. I think that we could benefit from an additional jukebox just in case you want to play music while you're up here. I'm literally just putting stuff to put it now. Like this thing, I'm just putting it there because I can. I've got no reason to. It just kind of fits. So I'm like, okay, I'll put a divider. Why not? We do have these shelves. I don't really know what a person would put on the shelf, but I'm kind of tempted to use it just purely for the sake of me using every item from the kit. Because right now we've used almost every single thing in the kit at least once. Okay, that is clipping into the wall, but we can just pretend that it's not. That's cool. The only things that I haven't used are the coffee machine and this curtain. So maybe I could put the curtains inside of this room. My initial thought with this room was like, oh, it can just be for storage. The coffee maker has to be put on a counter though, and there's no counters, and I don't really want my Sims to be like autonomously trying to use it. I think it's gonna annoy me if they do that, so I might just not let them. We do have a few things that we have to adjust on the exterior if we're gonna keep this. I feel like the interior is basically done. It's just the outside that needs a couple more things. First of all, lighting, because we don't have any outdoor lighting yet, so that's gonna help us. It needs to be a little bit brighter at nighttime. It does look pretty cool from the inside at nighttime though. I think this is really nice vibes. On the outside, I'm kind of trying to pick if I want to have like a fountain or something. I feel like right now I'm kind of unsure about how many tables should be put out here, because realistically your Sims don't need any of these tables. Like they're not going to use them at all. It's probably slightly more practical for me to start trying to add in things like benches. I think I'm struggling with this side because I'm not sure if I want to leave it open so it looks like you can easily access the back gardens, or if I want to put in more, because I could try and remove this and then like landscape around it. Even if we did something relatively simple just like this, I actually think that looks pretty cool. Probably have to get some black lights to go around it so it fits. I don't want to put these lights everywhere, but I do think that they might be good in some of the slightly darker corners, like over there. Okay, I don't know how many benches you should put. I'm not sure if I did too many or not. I'm trying to look and see about windows too, because I feel like this wall is looking kind of bland, but I did that on purpose. I also left this part up here bland on purpose. Maybe there could be another sign. Oh, okay, that helps. Obviously this part's empty on purpose as well. Lots of empty space on this building, but I want it to be functional, and I don't want to like make your Sims glitch out and get confused and try and use the top floors. It's always a constant balance of that when you're playing this game, because it's like, wow, it would be so cool to decorate that into an apartment upstairs, but then they would just get confused and you'd have like Nancy Landgrab walking around up there, and that's not great for gameplay, at least not in my mind. I'm putting a couple last minute little art pieces inside some of these rooms, and then I think I'm gonna say the build is done. I actually really enjoyed this one. I feel like it came together a lot more nicely than I expected it to. I didn't really expect that we would be able to make a cool lounge with just the one pack, so I'm really impressed. I don't even think it looks that bad right here. I think it actually kind of matches the neighboring lots pretty well. I'm gonna call this the Red Velvet Bistro. Which is so silly. All right, I feel pretty good about this. I had fun doing this build, so I hope that you enjoyed it too. I really like to try and put these packs to the test. I think final thoughts after having built a couple things with the 2 packs, I really am a fan of the Bistro Kit, but I do think it's probably better if you've got other packs. Like if you have Get Together to make a cafe or Dine Out to make a restaurant, you'll probably get more use out of this. It's not bad to build a lounge. Maybe it's just because I don't really care to visit the lounge lot types and stuff in the base game, but I would rather this be a restaurant. Like I would probably honestly replace this section with a kitchen using Dine Out and then make it a functional restaurant, and this would be so cool. But as a lounge, it's kind of like just there, you know? But it is nice to meet people this way. It's great if you're trying to practice your music skills, so that's good too. I've made a couple videos with these kits now. I did an overview, I've done a couple of builds, so I'll link those down below in case you want to check them out. And on that note, I think I'm gonna end this video right here. I stream every day over on my Twitch channel, so if you want to come hang out with us, I'll link that down below. We actually just finished a massive month-long charity fundraiser. This is the first video that than a recording since the fundraiser ended, and we actually raised $615,000 in just May on just my channel for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which is unbelievable. Last year we raised about $515,000, so we're $100,000 more than that. And we raised $100,000 on just the last day alone. So this month has been absolutely wild. Thank you to any of you who came by the streams at any point during the whole month. Things are a little bit calmer now. We've kind of like transitioned back to normal, but it was really cool and we did a lot of good together. So thank you. And with that, I will actually go now and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Okay? Bye everybody. You know what? I usually hate the color red, but I actually think it looks really good in this building. Like it kind of works in here.